Hello and welcome to No Drama Lama. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink, and enjoy this masterclass. I'll be walking you through this masterclass and I'll be giving you a couple of tasks along the way, so check them out as well. And should you need a break, simply press pause and then resume whenever you feel ready to do so. So, without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to No Drama Lama. This has been a long time coming, but I'm glad I finally made it. So, without further ado, let's go into the learning goals. So, what are the learning goals for this masterclass? What does it feel like without drama? Basic principles of a drama-free life. Why does one create drama? Drama triangle. Attributes of a victim, a perpetrator, a savior. Case study bullying, drama creation in your everyday life. Basic needs, drama cycle, drama creation in your own business, and drama in my work with my clients. And how do I get out of drama? Of course. So let's move on. You created your life. Therefore, you are responsible for making changes happen. Nobody else. If you're not going to go along the road of making changes happen, you're going to have to pay the price. The longer you are away from that road, the longer you're on the wrong train, the more expensive it's going to get back home. And this is home. This right here in your heart. It's not somewhere else. It's not on the outside. And this is what we're working on here, right? So, from my practice, your feelings are always valid, but they're oftentimes not true. I love the analogy that my friend Leslie just put in there, which is sometimes your feelings are like worms, or your inner parts are like worms. They're not telling you the truth. They can be there, that's fine, but don't act upon them, yeah? Just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that the person wanted you to feel that way if you're making somebody else responsible for that feeling that you have. It is a reflection and a story of all your open wounds. It's not the truth. This is the so-called trigger. So whatever we don't feel comfortable with, whatever you don't like, is just a story, right? If you feel a certain way, it doesn't mean that that's the appropriate, proper, correct way to feel. Yeah, I said feelings are valid, but they're not often true. What would be the appropriate way of feeling? If somebody attacks you, the appropriate way of feeling is not to cry. The appropriate way would be to fight back. That's the appropriate response of the natural body. It's not to go in the corner and cry and be like, this person was so mean to me. So, every emotion that brings you to an expression of helplessness, powerlessness, grudge, avoidance, hiding, shame, being grumpy, drama creation, and being defined are childish emotions. They are not mature. The emotion of helplessness and powerlessness, these are not mature, because as a grown adult who takes responsibility over their life would not feel helpless or powerless. There is no ounce of powerlessness and helplessness in my body because I don't allow it. Why would I feel helpless and powerless? I have all the help that I want because I ask for it, because I've worked for it, because I've built it through being in truth with myself and in connection. Now, adult, mature people do not need these emotions because they can communicate neutrally, clearly, and with no fear of how they're feeling and what exactly they need. So they're not afraid to express how they really feel and what they need. But first of all, you need to understand what you really need. Because if you can't hear it due to all the drama, well, we need to work on that. What does it feel like without the drama? It feels free, peaceful, calm, loving, and collected within yourself. Anything you desire comes to you without needing to do much. Literally feels adult. Like you literally feel like, I'm not a child. I don't feel like a child anymore. I don't feel like a teenager anymore. You know when you're like 30 plus and you still feel like a child? That feeling goes away because you're not a child anymore. Being adult doesn't feel burdened. It doesn't make you feel burdened by responsibility, but strong and grown and fucking empowered. Can there still be challenges? Of course. Challenges are not drama, but situations that will make you grow because a diamond only gets forged in or under pressure. So in order to build a successful business, you need to be able to give up things. You need to be able to grow. Drama doesn't make you grow. Drama keeps you where you are. Drama keeps you in a loop, in the so-called drama loop that I created. Well, I didn't create it, but I coined the term drama loop. So, basic principles of a drama-free life. I love myself. I'm connected to myself. I am enough. Separation is an illusion. Pain is potential for growth, because in pain we find growth. I am 1000% responsible for my emotions and for my life. These are the basic principles of a drama-free life. Should you not say yes to either one of those, and I'm not talking about the superficial, oh yeah, I love myself. No, you don't. If you did, you weren't here. Easy as pie, right? So what parts of yourself don't you love yourself? And what parts of yourself have you bypassed by telling yourself that you're loving yourself? And that already is drama creation within you. And it's so complex. It's so fucking complex. You need somebody else to see it clearly, yourself. You know, because if it's so complex and already so stricken and like vines are all over the place, you don't know where you're creating drama. You need me to tell you that, which is, of course, unfortunate because your parents neglected to do that for you. They should have done that. They should have assumed my role, but they haven't. So now we're here. And now we're going to rock this bitch. Why does one create trauma? Well, trauma is one of the most dramatic things that is out there. Developmental trauma, meaning that you received it from your parents, from your upbringing. Transgenerational trauma, grandparents, grandparents, and so on and so forth. So your generational lineage. PTSD or complex PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, usually comes when you're in war, when you had like a continuous bad environment, or you could even have complex PTSD or PTSD if your parent has hit you continuously. That can make you develop this. And complex PTSD is usually developmental trauma mixed with shock trauma, mixed with other types of trauma, mixed with other types of pain. And that's where the complex comes in, because you don't just have one, let's say, trauma response, you have a multitude. So it could be two even just. So you create drama because you're unconscious or subconscious about the drama parts in your life. So you're not aware of it. You create drama because learned behavior and conditioning from your parents, from society, from environment, whatever. Because needs will be met when you create drama. You will be seen. Somebody will pay attention to you because you can't pay attention to yourself. You cannot see yourself. But you should, because that's grown. I see myself. Why do I need you to see me? I would not then be able to do my job really well. And this is called pseudo-regulation, meaning you think this is what you need, but that's not what you need. That's what keeps you stuck in the drama loop. Because it feels like you relieve yourself of burden, but in reality it creates stress for your nervous system. So a good example of this is venting. So you vent and you're like, yeah, it makes me relieve my stress, but it doesn't. You're just auto-regulating yourself. You're just letting out steam, but it's not really helping you because you could just let it out the whole day if you wanted to. It's not looking at the root cause of it. It's just creating stress for your nervous system, therefore drama for your body. When you're in stress, you will, as you know, because if you watch The Power of Trauma, you will know that you'll be in fight-flight sympathetic mode. If you're in fight-flight sympathetic mode, you're going to go into fight or flight. You're going to avoid, or you're going to create drama, or worst case, you're going to go into freeze. So you're just going to dissociate. And another way to create drama, or another reason, is because they haven't processed the emotions of an event or cannot face the truth. One big classic thing is when you're in the wrong relationship and you don't want to face the truth and you just stay. You stay for a long time, but you're not happy. You're kind of happy, but you're not fully happy. You're not 100% relationship. You're like a 60% and you tolerate it because for the wrong reasons, you want it to last. You want it to last because you can't let go of the drama. So that can be, right, a reason why someone creates drama, because they don't want to face the truth. And what are you here for? For the truth. So, let me introduce you to the drama triangle. It was developed in 1968 by psychiatrist Stephen Cartman and describes a social model of the transaction analysis. Transactional analysis, this is his social model, where people are in transaction with each other. They're always transactionatory. I hope that's the right word. And so you see these three patterns here. You see the perpetrator, you see the savior, you see the victim. The perpetrator, I'm going to, in like future slides, I'm going to call him perp. with some shades on. So the perpetrator controls and blames, the savior helps without being asked, and the victim feels helpless and hopeless. Now, this drama triangle could be three people, three separate people, like me, you, and another person. This could be two people, like I'm gonna do the switch. I'm gonna be perpetrator and savior. I'm gonna be like, you stupid bitch. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Let me help you. Could be two people, right? And one is the victim. Could be a perpetrator victim, and then the other person's the savior, right? Also two people. Could be one person that your inner parts are like playing kind of like playing hooky or like tic-tac-toe, like, oh, it's my turn now, I'm gonna be, or depending on the situations, right? Depending on the context, it could be again 1, 2, 3, could be even more than that. So we have in our society, we have lots of savior type, perpetrator type, victim types. Like for instance, how Trump in the US is always being kind of vindicated, almost perceived as the perpetrator, the big bad guy. For others, he's the savior, and for others, he's the victim. So again, we're in the drama triangle. Whenever this shows up, you want to steer away from that bullshit, you know? So whenever a drama triangle shows up, there's always a savior. There's always somebody who's going to help us because we're so fucking helpless. And then there's a victim, and then there's usually a perpetrator where the savior is saving the victim from, you know. Classic example, when you've been abused and then the woman goes to a savior type guy who is not better than the abuser. Why? Because he doesn't enable her. He disables her. He helps her. I'm purposely saying he, her. He helps her so that she will stay in her freaking damsel in distress role, which is stupid because there are no damsels in distress. We're all empowered fucking human beings, whether you're a woman or a man. The fact that people abuse people is true. That doesn't take away the fact that people are being abused. But are you, even in your abuse in drama, because abuse and drama don't always mean the same, right? But you could stay in your drama triangle if you stay in abuse. I once had a boyfriend who choked me. I didn't tolerate that. I left him, like right on the bat. Did I go back? Maybe, but did I learn my lesson? Yes, I became very cautious. I put him on a pedestal, like a standards pedestal kind of thing. I said, okay, if this happens again, I'm out of here. And it never happened again. So I set the bar, and I didn't behave like a victim. I didn't need him to save me. I didn't need him to be a perpetrator no more. So I stepped up in my own empowerment. That's what happened. And then, well, I left him at the end of the day still, but for different reasons. But he never did that to me again because I wasn't a victim. I wouldn't let him touch me like that again. That's how you can turn drama around. That the relationship was dramatic, bitch, yes. Absolutely. Absolute drama. But despite that drama in it, I was able to get out of the victim role, which was super important for my development back then. Now, the drama triangle is about transaction and not about human relating. And what are we here for? Human relating. Being in connection, in true, intimate connection with each other. Yeah? And once you're in these roles, you're not relating at all. You're just saving, you're victimizing, or you're perpetrating. That's all you're doing. And you're not helping the person, even if you think you're helping. You're just being a fucking savior. And to me personally, saviors are the worst. I am one. I used to be one. So I know exactly what it feels like. But they're the worst because they try to control so much, they try to help too much, and it puts the victim more in victimhood. Nobody is a victim. Everybody is here on their own accord. So, the perp says, I am right. I am always right. They have power and they're in control. So, the savior says, I'm the good one. I'm a good one. They need to be the good one. They can't be the bad one. Recognition and removing guilt is the driver, basically. And the victim says, I'm innocent. What does the victim want? Love. Yeah. So when we look from the perp to savior, projections making the bad guy defending the victim. So the perp has projections on the savior projects on the perp, onto the perp, and making the perp the bad guy and defending the victim, right? So we have this from here, triangle. Then we have from the perp to the victim, we have the blame, shifting responsibility and projection. So the perp blames the victim, the responsibility shifts from the perp to the victim. No, it's your fault, you're the idiot, blah, blah, blah. And then the perp projects onto the victim of whatever they think they need, or the power and control, obviously. And the victim always wants love from the perp as well, so there's also a projection going on. And then the relationship between a savior and the victim is also super interesting, because the savior rescues and is being rescued, so the victim is being rescued, and then there's a codependency. So it's usually a trauma bond, what we call a trauma bond. The other way, victim and perp would also be a trauma bond, of course, and this way too. So the perp and savior usually don't get along unless they're the same person, and this is all trauma bonding. Trauma bonding means that you are not with each other for your true selves, but because you have this dynamic of the drama triangle or other dynamics. So why is the trauma the triangle upside down, right? Why is it an upside down triangle? Because the power dynamics, the victim is always under the savior and the perpetrator. The perpetrator is always, and the savior is always above them in hierarchy, yeah? So that's why it's an upside down triangle. Now, learnings from the perpetrator. Now I'm going to explain like what's up with me today? The dynamics of the perp, victim, and savior. So the learnings for the perpetrator are to assume responsibility for their being, for their actions, to check which behavior is uncomfortable or toxic to others by communicating, to learn how to regulate own emotions so you won't be in fight mode and in defiance. To be right means that there is no connection. To be right means there is no connection. What do you choose? Do you choose connection or to be right? Then you can be alone, you know? The thing is, for instance, in social media, I say a lot of times that I'm right, or I say a lot of times that I know better. That is because I come from a different standpoint. This is my standpoint of being an embodied leader. As an embodied leader, I know exactly how you feel before you even know it. That's part of my job. This is my very, very unique skill that I have. Does that make me a better person than you? No. Does it make me above you? No. But I have built something that you hopefully also want to build. Not exactly like I did, but you want to build something for your future. So I do have authority here. And this is not me being in fight mode, because if you think you know it better, then please live your life the way you've always lived it and see where the drama comes back in. To be empathetic towards others and to try to feel what they might be feeling, I don't always think that works, because if you have a psychopath in front of you that's a perp, not going to work. They need to work on their trauma, right? To let go of the need for power and control, to look at the inadequacies and insecurities that cause this behavior, because always in an inadequacy and an insecurity, people who condemn or are in contempt with other people condemn themselves and want to distract away from the fact that they actually see themselves as losers. They're never, ever, ever, ever going to admit to that. But you can hurt them like that, because you know, the thing about pain and hurting is you can't hurt other people. It's impossible. You cannot hurt other people. You could physically hurt them. You could ram like a knife into them. That would maybe physically hurt them, but emotionally you can't hurt people. Only if you're already hurt can you be hurt. Nobody else has the power to hurt you other than your parents, because you were a freaking defenseless child. But now as an adult, nobody has the power to hurt you. So why, right? Why do you blame others for hurting you when it's actually you that's hurting yourself? So perps want to distract away from the fact that they're actually really hurt, that they see themselves as losers, but they want to be powerful, and then they just bolster themselves up to seem as if they're not losers. They will, however, tell everybody, as I said here, that they are winners, unfortunately. So, the savior has more of a people-pleasing fight-flight response. I am better. I am smarter. I am more advanced than others, and that's why I can help. It's very altruistic, always there and selfless, meaning less of self. Self is not a good thing, boo-boo. Yeah, it means just less of yourself. You are weak and I'm strong and can solve your problems for you. Crossing boundaries because of helping too much. I like saviors, if they come up to me, ugh. To me, that's like, ugh. If you're a savior in business, you have a big fucking problem. A very big problem, because you're never gonna lead your business in a empowered way. You're always gonna try to save everybody. And that's a lot of waste of time. I can gladly take care of it. It's absolutely no problem. It's what they say, but it actually is a problem. But then they won't tell you, and then they would complain about it later. Generosity is used to disguise savior. Like, oh yeah, I'm so generous. I can help you and know the solution, even though no one asked for it. You poor person, that is horrible. Let me help you. It's like these kinds of terms of saviors. General disposition, I create my life, even though saviors are so busy helping others. So they do create their lives in a disposition way, but they are so busy not really focusing on their own lives. The savior puts himself above the victim to receive praise, acknowledgement, and approval. Saviors are just as judgmental as perpetrators, but not as condescending. If a savior does not receive the acknowledgement for saving, he will turn into a perp rather quickly. Savior uses empathy and feeling sorry to keep you small. The savior also has a small self-worth and saves to have someone owe something to them or keep score tally. Oh, I did this for you and now, yeah. So, savior, people-pleasing, fight or flight response can be anything. These are the two types of saviors. The savior that sees himself as better and that creates a narrative where you are a victim. It doesn't mean that you are. It just is the narrative of the savior. Or the savior that carries guilt within and has to make up for that guilt. It doesn't matter which kind of guilt. But how do you differentiate between the two? By reading the energy and intention of the person if you can. Yeah? If you cannot, by asking, why are you helping me? What are you hoping to gain? Oh, I'm just being nice. As we say in German, nice is the little sister of shitty, of asshole. So, being nice is something that is so ingrained in the culture, especially in the American culture, that it's never genuine. Especially, Australian as well. It's not genuine. What would be? You know, what would be something that's very truthful? Oh, I'm helping you because I'm hoping to gain something later. That will be the truth. So, learnings for the savior. I feel like we skipped something. Let me just check real quick. Ha! I did skip something. Okay, I'm so sorry. So let's go back to the perpetrator real quick. Is true fight response. Usually perpetrators don't have anything else but the fight response. And the perpetrator says, it's not my fault, it's the other people's faults. Critical, ruling, and dogmatic is how they are. I'm always right. My view is the only right one. I love to look for errors and mistakes in others because the errors and mistakes that they find in others is the one that they want to hide themselves. The others are never able to get it done. I'm going to get it done. Other people are dumber than me. I am worthy and the others are not. You see, it's very like condescending. I am capable and the others are not. I create the life that I want by fighting other people. That is how it's done. That's not how it's done. Like commandeering oversteps boundaries of others, and the perpetrator puts himself herself above the victim, and perp and savior often switch roles amongst each other. Perpetrators need victims to feel better about themselves. Would they spend time with other perpetrators, they would feel their inadequacy much stronger. So, because other perpetrators would then start to look at each other, or it could even be that other perpetrators actually are more empathetic with each other. Be like, yeah, I understand you because you're all idiots. But then you start to create drama again by two ganging up against the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? It's like this kind of yeah, everybody sucks and we're the good ones kind of behavior. And that's gonna in German we say kippen. It's gonna like swap. It's gonna switch because not both perpetrators are not gonna stay the same. They're eventually gonna have the power play amongst themselves. Yeah, and then these are the learnings. So this is now the correct. So learnings for the savior: let go of taking on responsibility and focus on your own goddamn responsibility, not on the ones for others. If they're gonna die, if you can't handle that, that's on you. Yeah? You don't need to save them. There's no need to save them. Because what kind of life are they living if you need to save them? To be more with yourself, like to be spend more time with yourself, to just be with yourself, and to support others but not save them. Healthy boundaries and respecting other people's boundaries. If they say no, it's a no. No is a no. No is a no is a no. Finding new means of approval and sense in this world other than helping people. Ask yourself, why do I have to help others and who am I helping the most? What do I gain out of it is a really nice other good question. Please make yourself aware that this is impossible. It is impossible to save others. You cannot. We're not talking about life and death. We're not talking about you're saving a child from drowning. No, we're talking about everyday life, helping them because they can't do it themselves. That's all bullshit. They can, and they will. We can support and empower people, but we cannot save, especially not as coaches, especially not in the service industry. And that's where most people tend to save, unfortunately. As soon as you're taking care of something for someone else, you are in a savior position, unless it is your responsibility, for instance, as a parent, as a partner. If you say as a partner, if you have the agreement with your partner, hey, I'm going to take care of us, I'm going to pay the bills. Sure, okay, that's different, yeah? As yourself, ask yourself, sorry, there is a K missing, who am I when I'm not there for someone else? Who are you when you're not there for someone else? Victim. This is the most interesting. This covers all: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. I am helpless and I am at a disadvantage. I have to be saved. I cannot save myself. I'm exaggerating a bit. I am poor. I am the poor one. I'm the unfortunate one. Outer circumstances are at fault. I am disabled. I'm fearful. I'm sick. I have depression. I am less worthy and not right, and others are faring better because they are better. Life is so difficult and life is so hard to deal with, and life happens to me instead of I happen life. I create life. If this happens, then I can, only if I have more money, then I can bullshit. This is the circumstance of have to be. This is the most dangerous circumstance of your life that you can put yourself in. You don't have to have something in order to do something, in order to be someone. You have to be someone first, then you get to do it, then you get to have it. It's the other way around. It's like the biggest principle of spirituality, even of manifestation, whatever. You cannot get something if you're not it. If you're a loser, what are you going to have? Loser things. That's how it is. If that's your identity, if that's who you embody, that's what you get. That's why. Because I am a winner. I win at everything. Everything I do is like a win for me. Because I've never, ever felt I'm a loser. I felt I may not be good enough. Yes, that I felt. But I've never felt of myself as like a loser. Like I would never call myself like that. Like why? So if you feel that way, own it. Own the fuck. Own it. And don't be a victim about it. Just own it. Yeah, okay, I'm a loser right now because I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve, but that's on me. That's my fault. Because I didn't do the right things. I didn't do the smart things. I thought working harder would make a difference, but it doesn't fucking do anything. It just makes you work harder. I cannot do it. I cannot make it. I didn't learn that. Then fucking learn it, right? Then fucking do it. You can't do it because you don't have the balls to do it. You have to learn something in order to do it. Like you have to learn by doing it. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, I cannot do it. I cannot make decisions and therefore I would rather do nothing. That's a bit. It's not my fault and it's not my responsibility. This is really toxic. I have no money and I cannot afford it. This is like a classic that I get all the time. Like, I don't give a fuck if you don't have money. I don't give a fuck if you can't afford it, because this is your life and you're responsible for it. Guess what? I'm responsible for my money creation. I'm responsible for my business, meaning I'm not dependent on you. And this is a very, very, very fortunate position that I'm at, because this means I get to choose who I work with. And if people turn their backs on me because of petty excuses, I will choose not to work with them in the future, because I can always decline you and say, no, you didn't want to do it. Why should I take you on in the future? And this is how I work in the German business. I do not take on clients again if they have left. Unless we decided we're going to take a break because this is what's needed right now, that you're going to walk on your own. That's a different story. I will wait until, this is like the worst thing of victims, because how long are you going to wait until you die? Because the longer you wait, as I said at the beginning, the farther you're going to get from home. Excuses. Oh, I can't do this because all excuses. It's because you don't want to. At the core, it's because you don't want to, because you don't want a better life. It's because you don't want to get rid of your fear. It's because you don't want to feel better. It's because you think you deserve what you have right now. But you're not striving for more. But you should strive for more. That's your imperative. But if you're not willing to do what it takes to get more out of your life, then you have earned your keep. You have earned your right to stay where the fuck you are. I'm not even sorry about it because you chose that. Why should I feel sorry for you? Empathy and let's say, this is not the right word because in German we have two words for that. So feeling sorry for someone is also a drama triangle. I don't give a shit. I don't feel sorry about anybody because that's what they chose. They chose to stay. They chose to be in these situations. Does it apply to everything? No, of course not. Of course it doesn't apply to everything. It doesn't apply to children because they didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice to be born, you know? But it applies to lots of adults. Even if you're sick, by the way, just saying, your sickness was brought by you, by your inadequacy to listen to your body. And you might think this is really harsh, but that's what you need to hear. I'm not here to coddle you. Because coddling you can do with any other, flurry, furry coach. But you're here for the hard truth. And the hard truth helps you grow faster than anything else. But if you're not willing to face the hard truth, then you will have a lot of problems in the future. You will inherit your shit to your children. Your shit will get displayed in your business. You will not be able to run it stress-free. And let me tell you, I run my business stress-free. My business doesn't stress me out. I don't have sleepless nights because of my business. Like, why should I? I don't even think about my business during the day if I'm not working. Learnings for the victim to assume responsibility. And it's always the victims that have it toughest because to them it feels really hard, which I don't understand. Because to me it was just like this. I knew I had to take responsibility for myself. Radical responsibility. Snap. I'm gonna do it. Because I love myself more than anybody else. And no blaming others, but ask yourself, how is the situation there for me? To save yourself and become empowered. To learn how to make decisions yourself without asking anybody. Learn that your trauma directed and controlled you and that you are now an adult person who does not have to choose powerlessness or helplessness because you choose that. And you choose to write that narrative again and again and again and again because you actively go into the feeling. To decide not to be a victim anymore. It's a decision. And many people only understand it when they're out of it completely. Then they understand, wow, it's been a decision all along. A real decision. Am I going to take myself seriously? I decided not to be in victimhood about my body anymore. Because there were still tendencies where I would be like, I hate my body. Like, I don't like how it is. So I took radical responsibility for it. I changed the way I eat. Lost 2 dress sizes. Okay. I feel really good about myself now. Like, I felt good before, but now I feel really good. But because I'm taking responsibility for myself. To learn how to recognize projections, placing trauma, beliefs, narratives on another person that has nothing to do with it. That everything you're projecting is to distract you from yourself. For example, sentences like, you're just like my mother, or you're talking like my dad. This is like typical projection. Okay. Let's do a little experiment. Example victim role, right? How would you react to my victim role honestly and authentically? If you're in the THS, we can talk about it because I love a good dialogue. But right now, just be authentic and honest. Fucking honest. Don't be nice, okay? Don't be nice about it. I'm gonna start, okay? like today's such a bad day because my boss was so cruel to me. He's always such a bad guy. Like, why would he make me work like that all the time? Oh my god. I don't want to quit though, because like where would I go? This is the only job that I have. Like, oh my god, this is so bad. I don't know what to do. Don't you just want to choke me and shake the fuck out of me? Don't you just want to slap me and hit me? If the answer is no, if you wanted to run away, that is exactly your pattern. If you like try to just, close your ears, or if you dissociate it, then you're in freeze. Your body is already responding to that. But the natural way, if you ever come across a victim like that, the natural way is not to go away. The natural way is to respond with anger. It doesn't mean you need to be extremely angry and shout at the person, but it icks. It's an ick. It's like a shut the fuck up. If you don't have that, you need to develop that, because that is the way to get you through your fear, to get you through your avoidance things, patterns. Yeah. So what did I want to show you with this? I wanted to show you that bullying is normal. This might sound very radical, but hear me out. Bullying is a dynamic. It's dynamics. It's dynamics between a victim and a perpetrator. There might be a savior, yes, but it's usually dynamics. So let me ask you these questions. Why can the Dalai Lama not be bullied? Why were you perhaps bullied? Maybe. I was also bullied. People also bullied me, but stopped quickly. Why? So, Dalai Lama, full of peace. There's no perpetrator. At least it doesn't seem that way, So there's no victimhood. There's full empowerment. There's altruism, not saving people, but being there for them. But he's still staying with himself, so that's why he cannot be bullied. That's why people don't bully him, because he has achieved something. He has achieved peace. Now, on the other hand, there will always be people commenting on my Instagram posts. They have lessened. They have really, really lessened. They were a lot last year. And that was because I was speaking to victims. And when I speak to victims, what was that came out of it is bullies. People bullying. Because I had victim frequency. Not because I was a victim, but because I was speaking to them. So, when I was bullied when I was a child, I was bullied because I was overweight. But to me, that was like actually funny. So to me, that wasn't even that bad. So they quickly stopped because they knew I was laughing with them. And so it wasn't fun anymore. But when I was actually really conscious, that hit me. And it stopped when I realized, oh, it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth I've been trying to avoid. And that's the bullying that starts to happen. And so I'm not saying that this is a good thing. I'm not condoning, or I'm not for or against. I'm actually quite neutral about it, but it just happens because there's a dynamics. There's insecurity within you. If there were no insecurity, you wouldn't get bullied. I don't get bullied nowadays. Like, who's going to bully me? People talk behind my back, but that's success. People always talk behind your back because you never know, So, bullying is only possible when there's a strong perpetrator-victim dynamics. As I said, the savior is simply the referee or the mediator in this equation. So usually they step in or they don't. The bigger the resonance, the stronger the bullying. The bigger the victimhood resonance, the perpetrator resonance, the pain, the stronger the bullying. So, what do all of these have in common? They all are insecure, they all have a lack of self-worth, and they all have a big ego or a small ego. And the source of all of this is trauma. Very easy. Trauma is, in very layman terms, pain. pain that's stored in your body, in very layman terms. And what they all also have in common is fear. The perpetrator is fear of not being enough, has fear of being alone, fear of true power, fear of intimacy, fear of peace and calm. The savior has fear of not being enough as well, fear of not being needed, fear of peace, fear of being alone, and fear of intimacy as well. And the victim has fear of empowerment, fear of own power, fear of change, fear of responsibility. So this is the drama triangle is controlled and ruled by fear. There are only two main emotions that push you forward in your development. One is love and one is fear. Love is based on the universal truth, and fear is based on an illusion. Fear is not real. It's just, that's what I said at the beginning. Like, your emotions are valid, they're there, but they're not real. And the illusion that fear is in, the illusion is the illusion of separation. Most people are afraid of separating, afraid of leaving, afraid of being unloved, alone, all of these fears. And this is the illusion of separation, but we're never separated. We're always together. We're always one. We're whole. We are already one. You have always been one, but you just need to decondition all your layers. You just need to integrate your trauma to understand that you've always been whole. Unless you're a soulless creature. That's a different story altogether. So, drama creation in everyday life. Check how many points are connected to fear, because this is super interesting. Doing chores for others, whether children, roommates, or partners. So, I mean, like, chores that are beyond, not just like things that you need to do, you know, but doing it completely for others, or using children to do it, or children are not doing any chores and you are doing it as a mother completely. Yeah, why are you doing that? That's drama creation. To complain and to talk bad about people, to focus on the negative. There's a fine line between talking bad about people and telling a story or telling your personal story where you try to be as factual as possible. That to me is not talking bad about people, that is recounting what has happened to you. Talking bad about people is really this kind of backbiting, gossipy behavior, like, oh my god, did you know that Sandra has new hair and is so ugly? Like, you just gossip about people. And complaining. Triangulation is a really interesting practice that manipulators do. A triangulation has something to do with a triangle. So one person wants to control the other person by controlling the narrative. So they would use a third person. For example, oh, hey, Sadie. Well, did you hear that Brittany said that she doesn't want to go with you to the ball? So, well, now you have to go with me. So this is a very simple explanation of it. Another person controls the narrative and says something that may be true or not to a second party, and they talk about the third party. And the third party then, or the person that gets spoken to, gets controlled by the narrative. Mothers do that a lot. Fathers do that too, but mothers a lot. So for example, when they come to you and say, oh, you know, I also talked to your sisters about this, and they also said, who the fuck gives a shit what they said? Because I'm talking to you, Mom. I'm not talking to my sisters right now. I want to talk to you only. Why are you bringing in other people into our conversation of what they said about me? They can talk to me themselves, period. That's how you handle triangulation. Avoidance, not communicating or not answering for days on end. Indirectness, not being able to communicate honestly and directly what one needs and what bothers them. People pleasing in general, like people pleasing, fight, flight, fawn. These are all drama creation stuff. Manipulation, lies. I think this is very obvious, right? Nagging. That's also drama creation, because you can't say, listen, I feel like you're not listening to me when I talk to you, so it's either attention up here, I don't know, up here, you know, or I'm going to leave. There needs to be a consequence for every non-action. Judging every action or reaction. Waiting. One waits until the outside changes so that one doesn't have to change within. Disrespectful behavior. So the waiting thing never works. It never works. You can wait all your life, and at the end of your life, you'll still be waiting. And nothing has changed. The circumstances may have changed, but your feeling hasn't changed. Disrespectful behavior towards oneself by neglecting nutrition, movement, emotional health, boundaries, safety, and so on. Rationalizing your life away and making decisions with your head. I love this, especially men. Men tend to over-rationalize everything when it hasn't helped them in any way. So overthinking and thinking about things is just a waste of time. So stop. Just stop. Go into your body, move your body. Just do it. Exaggerating and downplaying. So, right? Downplaying, exaggerating. Wanting to be right and criticizing everything is also a typical thing you do in everyday life. Lies create drama. This is very obvious, but the energetic signature says, I am not safe, valuable, or good enough to tell the truth. That's when you have to lie. So people sense this even if they're not aware of it and perceive this person as untrustworthy. Not trustworthy. Why is it? Okay, I'm not even going to question why there are two things. Lying or not even telling half the story or pretending until you make it, that's all just drama. Because you're perpetuating the exact same cycles. And again, especially if you're doing it in business, if you're doing this faking until you make it, it's not, there's nothing about it. Just be fucking honest. Like, you know, people are going to notice and then you're going to attract the wrong people. You lie out of fear of telling the truth. You lie because you say you don't want to hurt others, but it's the act of lying that hurts other people. It's not the lie itself, it's the act of lying. If the truth hurts you, then you're simply not yet grown up enough to grow into it, like to face it. Drama creation everyday life, again, using your own feelings as the basis for your drama. This upsets me, and that's why I'm so pitiful. This upsets me, that's why you should change your behavior. Okay? Demanding that others explain or owe you something that would have been your responsibility. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody. You can't demand anything of anybody. Projections of any kind. The great coaches earn money from those who suffer. I love this projection because, again, it shows that the person who's speaking is clearly in victim mode. Do I want to work with people like that? Nope, I don't. I also don't want to work with people who have to wait for ages and don't get shit done because it's just gonna, no. Saying you respect something, but still not doing or doing something that was explicitly asked for. Justifying yourself and creating drama and excuses through the justifications. So, yeah, I didn't do that because I don't care. I don't care. If you're in my sessions, I don't want to hear the excuses. I want to hear why you're giving me the excuses. I want to hear what caused you to act that way. What was really going on inside? I don't need the excuses, and you don't need them either. Yes, but. I love this. Yes, but is always an indicator for something shitty's gonna come after the but. Wanting recognition from others. You have to recognize yourself. You have to. Everything you want from the outside, you have to give yourself. If you're not ready to do that, you didn't earn your keep. You can't grow, right? Always being with others, consuming things that have something to do with other people, so as not to look at yourself. So to avoid yourself, basically. Like always hanging out with your friends, always being in touch with other people. Yeah. Not having money, not educating yourself about money, not generating money. This is drama creation because you're keeping yourself in lack. And lack is absolute drama. Abundance is no drama, but lack is absolute drama. Having children to fulfill your own needs. Generally, having relationships to fulfill needs. I need someone to love me. Yeah, because you don't love yourself. That's why you need someone. That's why you need to have kids in order to. And that's the worst reason to have kids for, you know? So, not recognizing and fulfilling your own needs creates drama. This is Maslow's motivational model. I love this. This has been like in my life since my, even before my psychology degree, my mass comm degree. So I have my first bachelor's is like a mass communication degree. So this is where we learned that. We have deficiency needs and we have growth needs, as you can see here. So it starts at the physiological level, which is like food, sleep, breathing. The safety needs was just like shelter, peace, belonging, and love. I think that's very self-explanatory. And esteem needs. Then we have the cognitive needs, the aesthetic needs, self-actualization, and transcendence. So if you do not recognize your needs, they will be suppressed. That's it. If you do not recognize your needs, they will be suppressed. That will lead to pain in your body or emotional. Suppressed feelings and needs become 4Fs as well. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. You are then in survival mode. You are stressed. Deficit needs must be met in order for growth needs to be met. So you need to meet these needs first. And if you don't even know what your physiological needs are, when you're hungry, when you're not, when you're thirsty, because you're always not drinking when you're thirsty, you're used to starving yourself, then your body will react. And we cannot work on bigger things if you're doing that. Drama creation in your own business. This is also so interesting, because not being visible or entertaining fear of visibility is part of the drama creation. So you hiding, you never showing up, you saying to yourself that you have this fear of visibility, which is why you can't do this and do that or whatever. Thinking that business has something to do with logic when it has so much more to do with energy. Yeah, energy and how you embody. It has nothing to do with logic. Most people are not logic buyers. Most people are emotional buyers. And when you know that, when you've understood that, yeah, and most people are relational buyers as well. I would rather buy a shitty product from a really great salesperson than a really cool product from a really shitty salesperson. I take these things very personally. If you don't give me service, bye, I'm out. Because I'm looking for good service. That's what I'm looking for. Not being transparent with clients and your own team. That's, I think, self-explanatory. Talking badly about clients and third parties. Thinking you can't be yourself and always have to be nice and friendly. I think this is, again, such a very Americanized way, or even Australian way, to be always nice and friendly. Even British, but British are not always that nice. So you have to start just being straight and honest and blunt in your business as well, because that's going to save your ass in the long run. No authority and no assumption of full responsibility. So no authority means you do not show up as an authority. Why should people book you? If you show up as a best friend, that's difficult, because I already have one. Using the client to fulfill your own shortcomings. So you want the client, for instance, on Instagram, you want the client to like your posts because you want to be liked, not because it shows you something. A person that likes my posts doesn't necessarily buy. I don't like people's posts and I buy random stuff. So generally using your business for your actual needs. That's not good, because your business is supposed to be there to help you grow. It's not supposed to be there to fulfill your needs. Maybe the only need, financial need or self-fulfillment need, but the business is there for the people. The business is there for service and not for yourself. Yeah. No, not drawing boundaries, even if clients cross boundaries. That's a biggie. No ground rules, having no agreements and contracts, questioning your expertise, your own expertise, changing your position or your positioning every month. Like, so on Instagram, when you always change who you're here for, what you do, you come up with new things every month. It's like always this change. It doesn't promote trust, because people like things to stay the same, unfortunately. And even when you reposition yourself, or when you change your designs or become more radical, like I'm doing at the moment, that could lead to loss of trust, and that's something you have to face. That's something you have to be able to juggle and to catch. Not being constantly and regularly present, because you also have a relationship with your community, for example, on Instagram. No mentor, coach, support as your fail-safe in your business. This is something that I really endorse. I always have a mentor that's my fail-safe. If she tells me something, I know, oh shit, this was wrong. I need that, because I have my own blind spots that of course I'm not aware of when I go new paths. When I'm walking new paths, everything is new. I would know. I don't know. So what I don't know can potentially be a danger to my business. And I need to know. So that's why I have a mentor that has a bigger sight than me. Not being connected to your own intuition and copying courses or ideas from others. This is like a no-go energetically, and it's always going to fail. So, yeah. Not booking the right mentors and coaches due to trauma, to drama and even trauma, because sometimes we form trauma bonds because we think they're so awesome, they're so radical, but we've never actually tried working with them, and we're just we just perceive what we want to perceive from the outside, but we haven't tasted how they work on the inside to know that they're actually good. To manipulate yourself by saying that you own business, that your own business is not so important, but that stability in the form of money should come in first. So these are like people who are afraid to jump into their own business fully and that need to earn money on the side, but that destroy themselves doing it. So because they're too afraid. They're too afraid to, I guess it's not just being afraid, they don't trust themselves. So it's even worse than that. So it's not just fear, it's also lack of self-trust. And lack of self-trust creates drama, of course. How am I supposed to do all of this is a very big question, like overload and the creation of it in your business. You create your overload. There is no such thing as overload. There's no such thing. There's just a child in you that thinks like that. But it's not the truth. It's not reality. Nobody's going to come to get you tomorrow. Nothing is going to break down if things are not going to go the way you planned. Lying to your community in micro nuances. That means, I had this one example, which is so interesting because I went out with a friend who's not my friend anymore. And I was at the Burj Al Arab. I had like a afternoon tea, which I wanted to do alone initially. And then when I was there, I was like, oh, why don't I just ask her? And I was like, hey, do you want to join me? And then she was like, yeah, sure, of course, I'm going to go right away. She joined me. What did she post on Instagram and the stories? She was like, I went to have my afternoon tea and my friend joined me. That is a lie in micro nuances. It's a nuanced lie because it's about her paying or being there, inviting me. It's making her seem larger than me, which I didn't comment, I didn't even like point it out because a couple of months later, we're not friends anymore. So, lying to your community is bad. There's no other way to say it, but like, if you're speaking untruths, and I've done this before, but I wasn't like fully aware of it, it's gonna hamper your business and it's gonna attract people that lie to you too in micro nuances. If you don't go out with your offer, that's drama creation in your own business. If you have an offer, you've been hiding it, you're not going out with it because you need to sell first and then create it. Sell first and then create it. Sell first and then create it. That's like business 101. Create chaos and have no structure because you came from chaos. You always need to create chaos, recreate it. Just wanting to mediate and not being able to defend your boundaries. So you're like too much of a wuss to really strongly say, listen, I don't like this. This is not how it's going to work, even if you lose money. Yeah. Addressing the audience. Address them like victims who can do nothing and are allowed to do anything. That's another thing. Defending someone else or interfering in things and thus playing the savior. Talking about clients negatively even though you attracted them. Expressing your opinion, which has no place in the coaching process. If this is specifically for your coach, your clients don't need your opinion unless you want to manipulate them. If your opinion is needed, the product is too weak. And this is very specific, very contextual, because if you need to sell by stating your opinion, like, I think, then your product just doesn't have a strong positioning. You have not embodied your topic. You are a coach for femininity, but are ashamed of your body, or want to be a business coach, but you have not yet built a profitable business. Classic example. You're afraid of hard work because it's exhausting and I don't want it. That's childish behavior. Not issuing invoices on time and not paying invoices or avoiding them is also childish behavior because no adult works like that. People are on time that are adult and that take responsibility and that know what it means to pay invoices on time instead of avoiding them. An adult human being who is in their soul mission and doing what they're passionate about doesn't avoid hard work. They embrace hard work in different phases of business. So there are different phases of business. There's a building phase. There's a enjoyment phase. It's kind of like when you plant the seeds, then you nourish the seeds, and then you reap. That's how a business works. You can't expect a business to fully flourish after a day, unless your idea is like a no-brainer, unless you have a product that people need at this instant and you can actually provide it. But that takes development, that takes time. So, drama creation in life, aka growth of a drama queen and king. This is the drama creation loop that I talked about earlier. The core topics remain, but the extent changes when the victim becomes more aware. So, doesn't need to be a victim, can also be a perpetrator or a savior. So we start here on the left side with this small circle that's like circling deep victimhood, no or less money, lack, struggle, heaviness, negative emotions, not taking responsibility. Then we go into normal victimhood, where you're just like, oh, sometimes you're complaining. Has money but only sees lack, less struggle, judgmental, negative emotions, frail. Then we have victimhood, more money because of hard work but only sees lack, same behavior patterns but faster recognition of them, judgmental still, less negative emotions. Then again, still victimhood, more money, more fulfilling moments in life, still some same behavioral patterns but faster recognition of it, negative emotions no longer dominate your day. And then still victimhood, you get it, like it's just the circle is just getting bigger, but you're still doing the same shit. Still victimhood, even more money, even more fulfilling moments, still same patterns, but faster recognition. Negative emotions no longer dominate your day. Your trauma is still stuck in your body and determines your life. It's still there. You delude yourself that you have moved on, although your soup of victimhood has only gotten wider. You're still in it. You have not done the things that you actually need to do in order to truly, fully step out of it. And that usually comes with leaving people, with making really, really hard and tough decisions for your life. Let me tell you something. The only way for me to step out of the drama cycle that I was in, even just as recent as last year being 2024, was to leave the drama, to eradicate it from my life. And that also means to eradicate the people that cause drama in my life. And once I did that, man, it's so peaceful. So peaceful. There were some outliers that came back, not the people, but like new people that came that created drama, but I noticed it right away, eradicated it, and peaceful again. So, important indicators. Referring to the fact that you have already developed enormously just to distract from the fact that the issue is still present. Yeah, but I've come such a long way. Yeah, but it's still there. So, doesn't matter. New level, new devil is a phrase for the drama cycle. There is no new devil outside of it. There's no. People always say like new level, new devil. It's like when you grow, the problem becomes bigger. There's another devil waiting. No, there's not. There is not. I can say that because I've embodied it. There's no new devil. That is the drama cycle. You seem more relaxed and like you've evolved, but the same thoughts are filling your head. In every new situation, the issue can flare up again, whether it's insecurity or fear. You justify your behavior and say, I still had a lot to learn, or this person broke me open so badly again and I needed it. Yeah, sure, okay. Always going outside for solutions, even though you have all the solutions inside of you. Consuming dozens of new courses and follow people, gurus, only to move away from yourself again. Not choosing someone who can bring you great and rapid transformation as a person, like me, because you can't afford it. And again, I wouldn't call myself guru or anything like that because I deliver, and I deliver quick. I do not feel like I'm just a teacher. I am a trauma healer, and that's what I would describe myself as, but I don't necessarily like it if people follow me. It's not about me, it's about you. It's always been about you and our interaction. There is no me that takes place with us, essentially. Just my skills and what I can do for you. You've gotten better at setting boundaries, even though you shouldn't have any contact. Instead, you think you have to endure something just because your soul is supposed to resonate in love. That's like spiritual bypassing. You never reach a point of silence. You sabotage all solutions and don't implement them. It always revolves around the same topics. Here are some real-life examples. A person says she would rather be single but keeps dating new people. A person wants to become self-employed but accepts a permanent position, like a fixed permanent position, instead of becoming self-employed. A person has no inner security and is always looking for friends and partners to take over for them. Savior kind of type. Body insecurity creates drama with body by eating too much or too little through excessive exercise or injury. So they create injuries, but subconsciously. A business owner is afraid that customers are not satisfied, not being enough, and keeps creating new courses and putting in even more content and service. A man feels ashamed to show his feelings, creates drama with fight avoidance, and in the next level it evolves from screaming or from derogatory comments to screaming. Either or. Exit of the drama loop. There are two possibilities. Inwards, introspection and trauma work, or outward, the choice to stop the drama. So radically stopping the drama. If you're doing it inward, you still have to do the outward step at some point, because there will be people that have nothing to say and to do in your life. They should not be there. And they're part of the drama. So let me just take a sip. Drama in working with my clients. This is very I'll give you some stereotypical things that has happened to me in my practice over the years. Clients who become defiant when I mirror something. So this is a classic. This is drama at its best. Clients who want all solutions directly so that they are served everything on a silver platter. This is also like Drama Lama at its best. When excuses are found as to why they haven't done something yet, even though they have resolved or they really, really wanted to do it, right? They committed themselves to doing it. If clients avoid writing to me so that we don't get any further, that's also another classic. If they identify with their parts and voices, so that means, I have a fearful part and I'm going to act like it. So they identify with their parts and their voices and their internal voices instead of seeing them as not part of their identity. If they don't want to let go yet, they keep on latching onto you and they don't want to let go, they don't want to let you leave, they're going to ask you lots of questions because they need you. If they disagree, even though the body speaks clearly. So the body to me speaks very clearly. I had that happen recently in a one-to-one session with a client of mine where I said, listen, your body's speaking different things. You can tell me all you want with your mouth, but I'm not going to listen to that because I can see and hear very clearly from the way you speak your body that this is happening. Whether you like it or not, you better listen to me. Because if you don't listen to me, you're just going to take longer. And that's on you, not on me. I told you. But if people don't want to listen to me, that's okay. I'm used to that. People need their own time and they need their own process, and that's fine. But sometimes I just wish people would just always listen to me. It would be much faster. So it's a choice to let go of the drama, and for that you need your drama mirrored. If you are not willing to hear that or work with it, then there's no point in a working relationship, right? Social dramas. This is very interesting because this pertains to social dramas in our society. So, for example, envy, jealousy, shame, shaming others, manipulation, elbow cultures, this kind of me first. The whole Western culture is like that. 9-to-5 jobs, social drama. Sorry, we don't need 9-to-5 jobs. Why? Gendering. This is a very German practice because in English, we can say himself, herself, right? We just inclusion. In German, we gender because we have der, die, das, which is a neutral, and you have that in Spanish, you have that in many different languages, right? Italian. So we have 3 genders. We have neutral, we have feminine and masculine. And the thing with that is people want terms that used to be male, they want them to be female now and to put an IN or something like that. And this is also just a social drama to keep you distracted from the more important things. Doing. So doing stuff, doing. I'm always on the lookout. I'm always hustling. This is also very social drama. Rushing, harassing, and criticism of any kind, or harassment and criticism of any kind. What's the point, right? What's the point of that? Being non-binary. This is to be looked at very, like, the way I say it, or the way I'm going to say it, which is, it usually is because of topics with femininity, masculinity, and ancestral topics. So this is what is behind non-binary people. Most non-binary people, they switch in their lifetimes again. So we have to look at the trauma and the topics behind that trauma. There are people who are, and I'm just being very specific with the non-binary people because it's not about transsexualism. It's not about that. It's really just about the non-binary. That's a very specific thing. Special types of identity. I identify as a cat. Is usually attention, is usually drama, is usually there's some topic behind that of you not wanting to face yourself. It's almost close to dissociative identity disorder, where you have multiple personalities. So this is a soft form of it. So you have to be careful with that. Racism, classism, violence, media that report on violence, all of this is just social drama. Media of all kinds, including YouTube, Meta, public broadcasts, propaganda, actively speaking out against something. Why are you so invested? Like, why are you investing time in something you're against? Like, why are you so invested? Focus on the things that you want rather than the things that you're against. Deficiency thinking, there's not enough. That's also drama because there is enough. Go along with everything because everyone else is doing it. Watch drama and love it. So, watch drama and love it is this, like, you know, you like cringe-worthy moments. You enjoy them. That could be part of social drama because it creates the need to produce these things. It creates a need to feed. And when people enjoy, like, you know, what's this called? Not live shows, like reality TV, it's just it's not real, right? So that's why it creates drama. It's not authentic. Anything and everything you create and support from your lack or pain will become drama in your life. So I brought another case study that's really interesting. This is drama creation in media. This is a German influencer. You can't, I mean, of course, if you speak German, you can look at it, but you can't watch it like that. You can watch it with subtitles. So this is the drama case Dubai chocolate, which is so funny. I thought it was so funny because the ones who are living in Dubai, we all know, like, that the Dubai chocolate just started with Fix, right? With the Fix chocolatier, and then they just grew, and then suddenly everybody started doing that kind of creation. So, but an example of how drama is stirred up and people are confused who already don't listen to themselves is when people use this example and make a theory out of it. Like, they say that this is a conspiracy theory, that Dubai paid other countries to promote the chocolate, which is, like, so ridiculous. Because I know from fact, like from observation and all of that, that I saw that that they just were good at marketing. They had many influencers that they had sent out the chocolates and they had them try it. I mean, do not underestimate media. Do not underestimate the power of Instagram. And so this dude, who I actually like, said that Dubai paid them, and then talked about how influencers in Dubai are not able to speak out openly and all of that. So it's a lot of stuff that is not really true. Because I am, if you want to, you know, I am working online as well, and I don't have that limitation, to be honest, or at least I don't feel that I have that. So this is just a little example of how he's, like, talking very fast in the video, which shows that he's trying to hide things. So if you talk, like, I mean, like in a kind of report style way, so he's talking super, super fast, and it's always, like, in between, and then it just, like, the whole frequency of his being is already drama. And what does he attract? Dramatic people. All right. So how do you get out of drama? We're almost done. Recognize your role in the drama triangle. Classic. Fulfill your needs. The will to always be 100% honest with yourself. Feel your body and control your nervous system, or at least work with your nervous system. Recognize your triggers and find other pathways. Decide to step out of the drama. Isolation as a hack to find out faster how to deal with yourself and others in drama. Seek help that can mirror your drama at any time in the beginning, because you won't always realize it yourself. As I said earlier, heal your traumas. Integrate abundance and gratitude into your life. Always choose self-empowerment and love. How can the situation before me? Super important question. And what would love choose? Please don't use this question to bypass your anger. Don't use this question to bypass the entire situation. Just be in the feeling, stay in the feeling of it, because the feeling tells you where it's actually coming from. Yeah. So now that you have the knowledge, everything that happens after this masterclass is your active choice, because now you're aware. You cannot take away awareness unless drugs. So thank you so much for your attention and your time, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.